Meg,
Hello. The,
hello.
hello, this is Magdalena.
Ah,
Greetings to you.
greetings.
So I have a question about the humans that have no soul. So the soulless humans. Can we talk about them?
We don't believe that there is technically any humans without soul.
So what is it?
Can you add more context to the question?
Yes, at one time I asked this question and I felt like I was dismissed pretty quickly when we were talking with Ashton. And so we got little information about he did confirm that there were beings without soul, but not much. So I wonder if you can expand a little bit.
Hmm. All parts of existence have some essence of soul because they are made of soul. Light, they're made of color, they're made of shapes, they have qualities and properties. All of these things come from soul. So, in some way, shape, or form, all holographic projections of your reality are, in a way, soul. And this is likely what they're referring to. Some of them may be shadows or replicas of creation to create the illusion of more people in a system, or they may be distortions of truths. But ultimately, there's always a little bit of soul in all things in reality.
So if that is correct, they have a spark of soul, correct? It's a possibility.
Sometimes there's not a spark. A spark would be the opportunity to awaken, but not everyone has that. So we would call it a dull shade of light that is present in all beings of life.
So all of us, we have that dull shade of light.
We would say if you've had an awakening, then you're at least a spark,
Oh, okay.
and you might even be a very bright, radiant light if you've awakened enough.
So if we have that kind of very dull sparkle of light, would we call them NPC? Would that be the other?
We wouldn't say they're dull and then call them sparkles of light in the same sentence.
Oh, yes, okay.
But we would say for those that are dull of light, they would be NPCs, yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
and for those who have just a spark of light, these are NPCs that have not yet awakened at all, but the potential is there for them to awaken. And for those that are orbs of light or smaller than great or grand, they would be those who have had an awakening or several awakenings, you can say.
Correct. So what would be, oh, what would be the purpose of these beings coming specifically at this time in our history? Why, what is the purpose for them to incarnate at this time?
To have experience that is unique to this timeline,
Would that help them to for evolution or not?
it would help them to have an experience that may be rare to experience otherwise. So souls do this a lot. They'll come in for a period or epoch of time where certain events are going to happen. Perhaps it's something to do with your artificial intelligence system,
Mhm.
or perhaps it has something to do with just the time that you're in. It can have a lot of factors. It can have to do with the level of technology you're at and several other factors that contribute to this.
So if North America and in Europe as well, I think we have more technology than, let's say, Africa or South America. Is that energy is attracting more of these souls?
Sometimes, but that's not always necessarily the case. Some
Oh,
souls just come into reality to be assimilated by a greater technological fat, what would we call them? A faction, perhaps.
okay. Is any way that we can recognize these beings? Is any clues that we can have to recognize them at all?
What beings are you referring to?
The beings that they have a shade of light, very
Mm.
low shade of light.
You can see them by the broadcasts that they make out into reality. This is perhaps a bit vague for you, but they have a purpose to fulfill, a function and a role, and when they're finished with that function, they'll cease to be significant. This is the case for many souls, but for those that are the most dim of lights, some many of them serve functions to fill space, to help you to feel like the world is full of people, for example, or there's lots of opportunities and shops to go to. But the truth is, they are like you, and you are once like them.
Yeah, that's the question I have. Yeah.
Yes. But your light may be brighter than theirs. And the difference in the brightness is you're more curious, you're more ambitious, you're more driven, you're more sovereign, you have more independence, you have more internal strength, you have more will, more drive, you have things that you want to do. And all of these show themselves in different ways in different people. So this is the particle of God in you that's a little bit brighter, that's all.
So these souls wouldn't have that much of these attitudes or thinking.
If you're an awakened soul, then you'll want to be more independent, less reliant on systems of government, and you may be aware of the matrix. You may want to learn and grow and expand your consciousness, your awareness, your psychic abilities, or things of this nature. But the NPC, they do not need to grow in these areas of life. There's other areas that are more appealing to them, and they don't have as many itches that need to be scratched, put it that way. But remember, the longer
Okay.
that you have been alive for and you have been an NPC for determines how many patterns of the old you will still have. If you wake up and you are already ascendant, you're an awakened soul from birth, then you will be a very, very different character than a regular person. But if you woke up at 40 years old, then you'll still have 40 years of patterns that are with you. And then you might, if you're 50 years old, then you'll have 10 years of awakened patterns, which will be different. You may, in that 10 years, have gotten rid of 5 years or 6 years of the old patterns of your life and reprogram them to be new patterns. But still, you will have that old framework to work against that
Mhm.
works against you. But your soul chose to enter into at that very moment for a certain reason. So that's to be considered.
So in this kind of progress, is it possible to program ourselves not to be recycle as a soul recycle, that not to want to come back to this dimension?
That takes several years of being awakened already. It takes some education in knowing how to escape as well. And we referred to that in the last class, actually.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Some people just want to escape, but they don't know what escape really means. They don't know
Mhm.
how to get to escape. They don't know what is on the other side of escape, but they just know they want it. So for these souls, we would refer them to the last class.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mac, Nick, and then myself, Larissa, and Kurt.
Nick,
Greetings, Thea.
greetings.
How to divide light to create color?
That's an exceptional question and one that you're definitely not ready to hear, but we could tell you it is quite complex. In reality, there is light and there is darkness. Now, between light and darkness, there are shades. Shades emit energy, waves, and radiation that are infinitely divided into smaller and smaller particles that give you the perception of reality. Now, these shades, they have many things packed into them. So this is an exploration that you are going on to ask us this question because it's it's a sixth dimensional a person of the sixth dimension would ask this question just for reference. Now, in a single shade, there's a spectrum of emotions. In a single shade, there's a spectrum of experience of life. There's a theme of life. Think about your root chakra. It represents several different things. Think about an emotional octave. There's several different emotions, perhaps 10 or 12 different emotions in just one octave of emotions. Now, that's just one particle of this ray of light, but there are other particles as well. There's more colors than red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, of course. And so there is an infinite spectrum. Your human bodies can only interpret so many emotional fields. And if they are too far above human range or too far below human range, they cannot be experienced. That means that some animals can experience emotions that you cannot experience. And we think that's interesting. And there's also galactics and plants and other beings, elementals and other spirit forms of spirit that interpret energies differently than you again. And they may experience inverted emotions. So this is another thing entirely. But there's a lot of things that you can experience. You can only see so many colors. They can see colors that you cannot see, and some colors you see better than they do. So reality is very beautiful when it comes to restrictions and non-restrictions for certain species, races, kin, many different parameters.
Yes. So what use would dividing light to create color be?
It means you get to create a reality on your own. You get to create a species, you get to create a race, you get to, if you're high dimensional enough, you get to create a planet, environments, atmosphere. What elements do you want on this planet? This is all different ways to break light, essentially. It's distort light, it's bend light, it's funnel light and concentrated, it's dilute light. There's many different things that you can actually do as a creator to create different effects when it comes to light. And there's way
Do
more
we,
information in this topic as well to talk about.
do we break light into colors when we decide on something we want to manifest?
You are bending light that already exists currently with your current levels of perceptions. So you don't technically know how to break light apart or to separate it or to coalesce the light together to create one harmonized field. Some of you are doing that through your reunifications, your soul reintegration, and others are breaking parts of their soul, which is in a way fractalizing light, but it's typically the trauma that does it to you, not you that does it to you necessarily. It's the environment that does it to you or the matrix. So you don't necessarily fractalize yourself in the same way. What was the rest of the question?
It was, do we break light into color when we manifest something, when we try to manifest something?
You bend light. So you can only use what you have currently access to. So you can only use the information that's held in your mind. You can only you bend light that's held in your experience, in your environment, in your emotional spectrum that you're currently in. Once you get out of that emotional spectrum, once you get out of that environment mentally, once you get out of your mind mentally as well, which is where things get crazy, that's more fifth dimensional access. But you're able to influence fields that you're not experiencing. And that's when true manifestation comes into play. That's bending light, that's distorting light in different ways, including splitting it and harmonizing it and coalescing it.
So how do you get out of your mind?
We don't believe that a human is ready to hear this, but it has to do with altered states of mind, altered states of consciousness. Some of you have reached these places in using drugs or um, perhaps other psychedelic substances. This is one way that you can leave yourself behind, but you're entangled to your body at all times and you cannot separate yourself due to the Cal force, that silver cord that tethers you to your framework. So because that cord exists, you cannot experience outside of yourself to the same levels. But if you're able to temporarily break that cord, which we don't recommend because the inexperienced will die, but then you can be outside of yourself. It's really outside of the framework of your mind, the context of your reality and your perceptions. You're leaving all that behind to experience the everlasting fields of light.
Is this the 0 point as well?
0 point. We think that might be a different place of life. This is a point of absolute balance and harmony and perfection of one's contentness in the actions of their life and in the state of their mind as well. It's a perfect harmonic state in your field.
Yes. So why is it that drugs can take someone out of their mind when one might say that they're always in their mind even when they're on drugs?
Well, drugs are an external force, just like the Matrix. They're a part of the Matrix, in fact. And the Matrix is powerful enough to separate you from your body, but you are not typically. But it is technically possible. So drugs are part of the Matrix, and that's why it's powerful enough to influence you and separate you.
And how do you combine color to create light?
Well, color is already light.
Okay.
If you're asking how
Okay.
to unify two light particles into one unified crystal or
Yes.
monad of light, that is something we can't share, unfortunately. But we can tell you that by doing your soul reintegration, that is exactly what you're doing.
Okay. Sweet.
Yes.
The Oracle in the Matrix movie, the character, the Oracle,
Yes.
they said they said to Neo, "You didn't come here to make a choice. You've already made it. You came here to understand why you made it."
Yes.
Is this true?
Eternal words, we would say. Yes.
So you've already made the choice. You just want to know why you made it.
Yes. And all of you have already lived throughout your entirety of your lives. You've actually seen every single timeline fully and completely from start to finish. Every darkest night of you, every brightest light of you, from start to finish, and every single timeline, every single infinite amount of timelines, you've experienced all of them an infinite amount of times over and over again as spirit. You already know the conclusion and exactly what's going to happen. And from time to time, spirit will check in with you and remind you this is coming. This is going to be wonderful. And that's what gives you inspiration. So,
Yes, yes. But we choose to experience a particular timeline.
yes, that's where you're at
Why is
right now.
why?